you know, becoming a pastor, but I think this will lean a little more toward pre-pastor, just how you grew up and, you know, how you got into the Navy, that sort of thing is kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I know the basics myself. You know, grew up fairly poor. You know, went to the Navy, went to Alabama. Met mother, became an accountant, but that's kind of all I know.
That's
You
the
know,
Reader's Digest.
The Reader's Digest version. So maybe just delve into that a little bit is what I'm hoping. So let's start. If you don't care, just start. When and where were you born?
I was born in Eden, Alabama, which is really Pell City. That's where my grandfather grew up. My dad was born there. And my first memory is when I was about 3 years old. My brother Charles, who was 3 years older than I was riding a horse and fell off and broke his arm. And that made a real dent in my memory. That was in Pell City, Alabama. And then when I was about 4, we moved to Vinson, Alabama, and moved into a little duplex. And we were on one side of the duplex, and the Vicks, who was a family we kind of grew up with, was on the other side of the duplex. And the thing I remember about there is we had, you know, somebody was farming, and I don't know if my dad was farming then or not. I was only about 4 years old, but my big memory of living there was one winter when I started the first grade, and we had to walk about a mile to catch the school bus, and it was probably below zero. I mean, it felt like me and a neighbor right where we caught the school bus graciously opened her house and had a fireplace, and I got to go in and thaw out. But that
While you waited for the bus?
Yeah. And then from that duplex, we moved a little further on down toward Coosa River. Actually, I remember when I was probably maybe 6 years old when we moved there. And my big memory there is the Coosa River flooded and came up to right up to our house. And I also have a memory there of cutting my own hair. I got some scissors and I cut my hair, and then I went and hid under the house, and my mother and several other people had to coax me to come out from under the house with my new haircut.
So go back to Eden, where you were born. That's Pell City today,
Yeah.
I guess. Were you born in a hospital, or did Pell City have a hospital? Do you know?
To my knowledge, from what I've heard from my mother, is I was born at home.
With like
With
a
a
midwife or
Yeah.
something? Huh. And you were the second of 7 children?
Right.
So how much older was Charles?
He was
than
3
you?
years older than me, and then I'm 3 years older than Ray.